right, we are live. Uh, we're just kicking off like people get tuned in. Jeremy is awake and sound today. He is here because we gotta talk about a handful of stuff. Some stuff we missed last week too. We just got some of the images, so I'm still working on the graphics from the draft tournament. Uh, but I would like to go over our MVPs at least. We can give them some acknowledgement because Chad, you were there. It was a good tournament. A lot of people had fun. What do you think?
I mean, it was definitely a lot more competitive than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I want to do a only 30-man one through three
I'll
teams.
say
Only.
I guarantee you the next time you do it, you're gonna have a lot more people there because it looked fun enough for people to be interested.
And there
Yeah,
was actually, I mean, there's a lot of majority is going to be guys who have played fives before, but the handful of guys that didn't seem to have fun, I mean, you got to learn how to play. But overall, it seemed like everybody enjoyed themselves. Besides, everybody got to talk shit to Fredo.
Do you think that this could pull an actual league out of Chicago for 5 man?
I mean, the goal is to get back to our draft league again. Um, have host a couple more draft tournaments, maybe some smaller scale ones, maybe some bigger scale ones. Kind of keep everyone a mixture, just depending on what we know that's going to be in the area.
I'm talking
But
about actual teams being made, not just from
I
draft.
don't
Like,
see.
I don't
I think
foresee
that's where we're going to
teams.
fall into problems.
I think
you
that's
think
why the
so?
draft league is going to be very important because I don't think the team aspect, unless we start creating them, I don't think the 5-man team market is going to be there, especially if you have the new waves OTF and going up and killing these guys in the first couple weeks.
Well,
Um,
that's why I said I think. I mean, obviously, for New Wave, a 4TF, they can make like two teams out of each team there alone. But I'm saying, like, you seriously could think about making actual teams and having a competitive 5 man league if people would like actual play with other people and not just sit on the sideline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to come down to is just, the consistency of guys playing the game. And I think once we've had more of those consistency tournaments and people start seeing it more, I think it will get a little bit better turnout for that. I think it also has a huge factor will be the day it's on, and the time. Because as we found out, Sundays are great and all, but Sundays are 8-man days. It's hard to want to play a 5-man game after playing 8-man games, especially if you have like other leagues too. So I think Sundays are a little bit harder. We definitely got to find a day that works and it works for everyone, or else we're not going to be able to capitalize that. I know that we tried that one Saturday night league couple a couple of seasons ago. That worked out pretty decent, but it's just going to be that consistency standpoint for there. If you're just tuning in, we're just chit chatting. We're gonna get to going. Uh, there's a lot.
You got to name the MVPs. That's what I'm kind of waiting for
Oh,
because there was
we're gonna get right into the MVPs. Let me pull it up real quick.
yeah, because there was a lot of talk. Like I said, there was a lot of people doing some work or putting in some work. I heard.
Yeah, I mean, he said barely. Where's my phone?
Well, Chach has seen it all. That's why, because he's actually traveled for 5 man. So it's a little different because Chach has seen kind of the teams that have been put together and are mainly 5 man teams. It's a little bit different than when you have the draft league and stuff like that.
I mean, definitely for Illinois, it was a handful of guys stood out. But I mean, like you said, I've seen the world champs, the UFFL champs, so it's definitely different.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying. That's why I asked you if you seriously think that there could really be a couple teams being made out of Chicago that could travel and actually do this down at national level or at a tournament level.
I mean, fives is just like eights. There's going to be the egos, and there's going to be guys who want to do this and that. But I mean, there's definitely talent for 2 to 3 legitimate 5 man teams. It's just if those teams want to play together.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, 5-man in itself can be interesting. I want to see what if people are going to jump into and think 6-man might be a little bit more interesting, even though it's practically the same. If correct me if I'm wrong, but the QB just can't run in 6-man.
6-man's my favorite because the quarterback can't run. I mean,
So
it's damn near. I mean, it's the same size as 5s. No pitching, quarterback can't run, and you get 4 downs for a first down and 4 for a score.
You said no pitching?
No pitching.
Oh shit.
So I mean, it's like kill the carrier football.
Yeah.
damn, I know I had these. I was just looking at it because I know Chulo. I believe Chulo won the defensive MVP, the tournament MVP, if I'm not mistaken.
Defensive or tournament?
Tournament, like the defensive tournament MVP.
Yeah, he was abusing some poor guy.
Just lost it in our chat, dude. He went crazy. Not gonna lie to you. I'm pretty sure Ty was the
Chulo is one of those players that could easily be a 5-man star on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm saying I think there's a bunch of them in Chicago. I think 5-man is one of those things that we don't necessarily speak about a lot, but it's something that Deshaun tapped into a while ago with Sonic that kind of like, I don't know, it could take over Chicago. It could. I mean, like Chach was saying, with the Eagles and stuff, it's a little bit harder. Smaller of a team to kind of get together, fast paced, but really fun. So it would be badass to see a bunch of teams from Chicago in the tournament scene.
I mean, because
we got some athletes that could do some fucking damage.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, I think the true last Chicago-based team other than OTF was Dream Team like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And other than that,
yeah,
I couldn't
100%. Other than that, you can't even name them. I really think you could put some together.
So these are the MVPs that we came up with as the 4 captains. Shout out to Icon again winning. He picked the right guys. He finessed the other captains a little bit with some of those picks. So he definitely did what he had to do to make sure that his team was going to win. But we're going to start off with the tournament MVPs. You have Chulo with defensive, Deshaun with the offensive, and then the overall BJ. And then for the ship MVP, you got Jordan, who was the offensive MVP, O'Shea, who was the defensive MVP, and then Ty was the overall ship MVP. And then honorable
O'Shea was getting busy on both sides of the ball, man.
That's crazy.
He was I was surprised.
And some sleeper picks that we had was TB. He definitely was a high contender there. I know we were going back and forth in the chat about him even being one of the tournament MVPs. I mean, I'm pretty sure he scored some of the most points in the tournament. That was Charles' go-to guy. Donnie, who's on Spartan, shout out to him. He was another. Him and Spencer were some hidden sleeper picks that a lot of people were talking about.
Keep reading, bro.
So it's definitely going to be interesting to see once we have those graphics out what people kind of think and what they say about these guys, because I think it was kind of predicted a little bit, but overall I think it could have been anyone's game. I think this next time around we do it, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what people show up or may not show up because of their experience that they had. I think we only had like 1 or 2 guys that really felt some type of way at the end of the tournament. But I think everyone had a fair amount of playing time, in my opinion. But we're talking about going into this past week games. Chach, you guys had a doubleheader, right?
Yeah.
And then
that goes into my name that I have right now, but I'll wait until we get more into it.
What do you mean?
My podcast name that I have.
4 or 5.
Well, we're going right into it right now. We're getting into this week's game. So
we want you to ask him about his name.
What about ask you why 4 out of 5 rings?
Because there's 5 teams in upper and only 4 of them have a national championship under their belt. And there's that one lonely team.
And we're talking about 4TF, who you guys beat 17-0.
Yup.
What was your take on that game, my guy? I know that was a pretty
I
interesting
mean,
morning.
from what I heard, I mean, everybody knows Padron was Phantom's quarterback for about 5 years, 4-ish, 4 or 5. We always got buys on his birthday, so I'm just curious on why Dante felt he could play us without Padron, knowing Padron wasn't going to be there because Padron's going to let you know what weekends he's not there.
Are you saying that you don't think that Dante can be a capable quarterback of winning?
I mean,
Because he's
I
done
think
it
he- I
already
think-
at the level. I think they were missing a lot of guys. You guys had their number for sure, but I mean, you're pretty much saying that if they had Padron, they knew they weren't going to have Padron. Why didn't they ask for a bye? But Dante has been a quarterback for them before, so I think that's
not
the reason.
against us.
He's been a
Shit.
quarterback against you guys, but I see what you're saying.
I
You're
mean,
saying they should have asked for that bye because they were shorthanded and they knew they couldn't beat you with Dante, is what you're trying to say.
yes. I mean, I think they crossed the 50 once against us the whole game.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough go for.
Now, would you guys
the
say
offense.
that it could have took a toll on them not having Dante in the backfield as normal as their offense may have got used to Padron and his style of offense? Do you think that could have taken a toll on it? Because Jeremy, I think you kind of hit it right on the nail, right? You know, Dante can run an offense. He's taking a team to a national title with his offense, him and Millie. But do you think that his offense in general has gotten used to Padron's style of play, and that could potentially be a deterrent for them if they have to do that switch?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think. Right now it's fall, right? They're trying to figure it out. They're in a process of change, or however they want to call it, or move forward. But it's looking dicey, right? I mean,
Very much so.
it's like I said. I mean, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm not. I would say in that locker room anymore. I don't know what they do anymore after a loss like this. Maybe they pat each other on the back and say it's okay. They don't have their guy. We're still working, perfectly fine. But that can't be the common theme, correct? Week in, week out, that can't be the common theme of it's always going to be fine. We're still working on it. We're still working on it. Josh brings up a good point. If you know you're not going to have your quarterback, the team's kind of missing pieces already. You had an opportunity to ask for a bye. You didn't. They want to get some people some playing time. They want to see what they can do. But that's against a big game. That's a big game right there. I don't think they knew they were going to play them. But, again, you kind of want to take your lumps how you get them. These are divisional lumps. The playoffs are going to mean a lot. This is just for seeding. But, man, I don't see really –
You're talking about seeding, right? You're talking.
Yeah, I don't see a lot out of them. I think this loss it's a hard loss to take on the chin. They can think what they want, but I think Phantoms had their way with them. Phantoms wasn't actually at their full firepower because they didn't really have to be. So that says something. What are they going to do from here moving forward? Is that offense going to pick it up? I know they're dealing with some injuries right now too, which doesn't look good for them. And the other teams are looking good. They're looking fast. New Wave, Phantoms, VGs, that offense, all those offenses look good. So your offense doesn't right now.
Well, you're talking about you're looking at Phantoms overall. You do got that New Wave VGs that has a makeup. You got the 4TF VGs that's a makeup. There's only 4 real games that you're playing to project your seeding. Right now, New Wave sitting in the best spot because they haven't lost yet. 4TF losing the Phantoms now, they have to win that next game in order for that to count to give them good seeding. And right now,
Reapers is 0-3. Shit.
and 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 when it comes to remind you now, this is just your divisional games that counts for playoffs. So this is not the overall records, but this is your records just for your conference. So I mean, I think that says a lot because I mean, if we go to, you know, your our overalls,
Damn, we've given up 32 points. Shit.
you're talking about overalls. New Ways is currently sitting at 5-0. 4TF sitting at 4-2. That's a big change than 1-2. You know what I mean? And those two losses are from their conference, their division games, which
Yeah, if
means
they're
a
playing
lot.
in Division Two, they'd be nice.
Right. So right now you're talking about overall, you're talking about the D1 teams, and yeah, unfortunately, Reapers is sitting in that pack with their 0-4, which doesn't sit well for them right now. Right down there with Grizzlies. So Reapers and Grizzlies are the only teams that don't even have a win right now in the league. Besides that, everyone else has either a cross win or some type of win going on. But come playoffs, you're talking about D1 especially. We're looking at that right there. I mean, you got to do everything you can these next couple of games to make them count. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean you're looking at a VG's 4TF matchup, or a New Wave VGs or New Wave 4TF. I mean 4TF right now it's yeah, they're playing to not have
Basically,
to.
you got a 4 VGs versus Reapers, potentially see Phantoms, and then a New Wave versus 4TF.
How many
We're
more
looking
games are in this? They got. Well, they only play
I
each
think
other
we're
once, right? Everyone
halfway through
does.
the season.
we're halfway already.
Now I'm talking about the division though. They only play each other once, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So Phantoms already played all the division games.
So there's only one more game left in the division wise for these teams. New Wave has two,
New Wave has
and
2. One of
VGs has
them's
two,
against Reapers, and then you're talking about VGs has 4TF and New Wave.
and Phantoms is done with division, isn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So they
That's
went 3-1. I mean, what? They're 6 games in already.
so you're looking at right now. If New Wave clears the board, they still have. Who does New Wave still have?
VGs and Reapers.
They have VGs and Reapers. Okay.
Because
So
then you
they
got
could-
the makeup games, which we're working out right now. It's looking like for at least the
and
D1 games.
they hold the tiebreaker over Phantom, so they would be number one even if they lose one game.
Yeah, because on April 13th, which is this coming week, you got New Wave versus Reapers, and then you got that makeup game of the New Waves versus VGs,
VGs.
and that's what's missing.
Yeah.
Because New Wave won't beat Phantoms 12-6, beat 4TF 20-15, and then all they got to do is beat Reapers.
Yeah, so you're almost really looking at that standings right there. That's most likely how it ends up.
So I mean, if Reapers win it, they can shake it up a little bit. But New Wave wins it out. They lock in that first seed. They might have to see VGs or Reapers compared to having seen 4TF.
I mean, it's gonna be what, first seed by?
First seed by for 4 versus 5 and 2 versus 3. And then
So
winner.
We'll probably play
Right now-
VGs.
Yeah, right now it looks like New Wave's pretty much sitting as long as they beat Reapers, no matter what happens with them and VGs, I think they're sitting near the top, correct? It would go towards net points because then VGs would have a win over New Wave and New Wave would have a win over Phantoms. And Phantoms has a win over VGs.
So really, right now, New Wave needs to put up a lot of points against Reapers and VGs in order to really solidify it. Their game to put up the points was nothing against Reapers, but that would be the game you'd want to put up points against.
So 4TS still has to play VGs, correct?
Correct.
Shit,
So if
VGs
they
offense
go-
been putting up about 30.
Bro, if they go against VGs and they don't win, that means they go 0-3 against the 3 top teams. That means that could be easily a first round knockout, right? It's a lot of people gonna be looking at each other. They better get that thing rolling.
So it definitely can. That outcome can definitely go either way, in my opinion. And you talk about the VGs team that came off this past weekend, doing what they did as well, putting up points. Where's my graph?
Yeah, Vince had Tony in a fucking washing machine.
Yeah, I mean, they 28-6
Is that the reason why
against
alphas won't come out?
Alphas, and then 30-12 against Heroes. So the VGs are saying, "Hey, listen up. We the champs. We here. We're playing." It's just those
And
single
playoffs
games.
are going to be interesting. I'm. It's going to be a very. It's kind of like the same shit every time the elite play each other. Those top 4 teams, they kind of go back and forth. Reapers really wanted to say something, but right now they need to put it together because right now they're looking like a weekend warrior team. I hate to say it, but
Just the Natties playing team.
right now it's like they have because they'll go down to a tournament, right? And they might have those guys from Florida. They go to the nationals. They could be a different team. And some may say that they crept up on somebody or the teams down there because right now they're 0-3 in their division and doesn't look like it's getting any better. So I feel like they need to get back on the drawing board and figure something out over there. We'll see what happens. But the top 4 teams, I think it's going to be Phantoms, New Wave VGs right now. I think those 3 kind of have the hold on it. 4TF still trying to figure things out. So we'll see what happens. But playoffs are going to be, I think you're looking at the top 4 teams.
Well, I think what's very different this season that we've done in the past. Uh, is that you can only play, you only play that team once compared in the past. So you've seen them maybe 2 or 3 times in that regular season. Then playoffs you come. So I feel like the game's just kind of a little bit more during the regular season. I think that some of the games, especially like that 4TF New Way game that was played in the snow, I think there's going to be some, if they see each other in the playoffs, that's going to let off some more heat there as well. So I think those games are just going to be a little bit more amplified when it actually comes to it all.
I mean, yeah, the only team that's not really probably gonna change much is Reapers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's because they're missing more guys than usual, but like they didn't even have Fro snapping against us. They were 4 bigs, just straight blocking 4 with like a release every like 5 plays.
Well, what do you think was the problem this week? I mean, so far you guys don't look like your defense has struggled to too many teams other than New Wave. And that game was even still a tight game. I think they had
One bullshit play.
Quick scores, right? Quick scores on you, right? But other than that, yeah, your defenses look tough. What about this week, though? What do you guys think that was kind of easy for you guys this week?
I mean, Fro's arguably one of the better releasing centers in the league, and then him just going to receiver, it's a lot less of a problem when you're blocking just 4 straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, we Phantoms have always had a good D line. Like we're always smart. We know how to rush certain situations, and when your center can't pick his head up fast enough, I'm just going to walk right past you.
Yeah, they did have Fro out there, and they had a different center this week. So you're saying that's not the answer.
I mean, unless that center could learn to get his head up faster, no, because I was literally just fucking Euro stepping through.
Well, I mean, I think that's basically safe to say is like how you felt. Let's talk about the Sunset Meadows games.
Yeah,
as you saw a little bit, that 8 a.m. game against Jokers versus A-Town got a little bit chirpy. Some people felt that it got aggressive. They put a little bit back and forth to it.
I'm sorry, hold on. I ain't never seen a flinch on a like for real. That was
after you muff somebody.
Crazy.
Hey,
you muffed them and then you flinched.
Yeah, that was.
My boy Alex down after
that video has some controversy around it. People felt like we that shouldn't have been posted or that should have. In my opinion, I think that there's some things that to a certain point that this is football. This does have a competitive edge to it. Some silly stuff like that, that's like no harm. It's stupid stuff that guys do. I think that gets people a little bit scared when they see stuff like this. And that people need to keep in mind it's just a game at the end of the day. Mike and Mike and Alex both kind of went at each other. Group chat was popping off about it. Uh, Ricky does what Ricky does best. He gives the content for everyone. Alex definitely probably had his little feelings hurt a little bit. Uh, People were roasting him left and right. But at the same time, and then
Look, it's a competitive game.
it's a competitive game, and then people.
But there's also context behind it. I mean, there was that one podcast where it was Mike, the no Diddy, the Diddy last name, and then Kendrick and Alex talking shit to each other. I mean,
Right, and that's what people don't understand is like, God forbid,
I can see Alex is a little bit mad about the comment about flinching. Hey, bro, listen. All I said was it's a little weird to see the flinch on the camera after you muffed a man. I'm just saying, but we can move on if you want. We don't have to keep it up. I just wanted to say it was weird to see on the camera. And like I said, and I think I'm glad to say that Chat said it. If y'all gonna go back and forth in the chat, right? And then all of a sudden y'all get caught on 4K, it's gonna come out. I mean, shit, you can't blame the cameraman for being right where he needs to be. Ricky was just right in the right spot. That's it.
Hey, my favorite part though was like Ricky sent me. He's like, "No one threw a punch. I'm posting it." Hey, so he was happy that it was a funny little clip. Some people took it one way. I didn't see no harm in it.
I thought it was funny.
Hey, Marcus, you know what's crazy is that little muff. I don't even think there was a sideline clearing though from Little Muff. I don't think so. Yeah, there wasn't, right? I remember that because he said something about the Ducks getting a little rowdy or something. And
those
don't
guys,
listen to Marcus. Marcus is the Make-A-Wish kid. They just let him on the team for tax purposes.
He needs to be worried about them bullies though, and catching them flags, because people with gym shoes be making him miss.
Woo.
Damn. See, me personally, letting Seppi cook you is crazy.
Hey, I gotta throw a jab in, man. He coming at me.
In the Skechers.
In the Skechers, man. In the Skechers. But overall, I think it was a crazy weekend. That was a great first game to pop off with. And then you got that Immortals game following that.
Jesus Christ.
Versus Wild Boys. Wild Boys did what Wild Boys were supposed to do. No offense to the Mortals, but the Wild Boys got that dub.
It's an NPC team.
A what?
They're an NPC team.
Oh.
Do you know what NPC stands for?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
Non-playable character. A bot. A computer-generated person.
I knew what NPC is.
Jeremy asked. It's not all about you. Simmer down.
Well, and then you got Bullies taking home a win that they really needed this weekend, which was 14-3 against Rumpel. It was against Rumpel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They needed that win for conference purposes, because as we're looking at the D2 conference, they're sitting up top, the Bullies, and they need to finish strong. They only got one more game to go to finish off their season. Now they need Alphas to lose the next two as well, like the next point. So it's going to be some big games. I know the Grizzlies have a reschedulement against Alphas, and then this week they're coming. Let me see actually who they need to play, they'll be playing still. I can tell you real quick.
As long as Anthony Bajorklin is on Alpha's defense, they will get scored on.
So looks like they got VGs at 9 this upcoming at 4 TF. They got Reaper, and then they got to beat Heroes. So that rescheduled game against the Alphas is going to be. Oh no, they lost to Alphas. So they lost to Alphas. They beat Grizzlies. Oh, okay. So they should be pretty much good then, because they got Heroes right there. That should put them at the 4 then.
That's going to be a good game.
So yeah, that Heroes game is going to mean something for them then, because their only loss is to Alphas, but they need Alphas to, at least get 1 or 2 losses so they can get to that.
What was that score for Heroes and Alphas?
Heroes and Alphas. Heroes and Alphas. I don't know if they played yet. Did they?
Yeah, they just played last week.
Yeah, you just said they just played.
No, I think they.
The 23rd they played Alphas and Heroes. They played Alphas, beat them 6-2, 12-6. So
they both can't get the extra points. Got it.
Yeah. So you're talking about May 4th, you got Heroes versus Bullies. I mean, the next 3 games are conference games for Heroes. So they got Rumple the 13th, you got Bullies the 4th, and then Grizzlies on the 18th. And they got that double header. So they got a lot of games that count upcoming that are going to be very impactful for at least D2. I think they're one of the teams to watch out for um, in that
Heroes either
division.
gonna win it easily or sell like a motherfucker in the championship.
I believe that this D2 is the most up for grabs um, in in the divisions, in my opinion. I don't know if you don't know who you can pick or not. People can say what they want about the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies can sneak it out. I think Rumple can sneak it out still. I think Alphas can do what they do best. Bullies, they keep it together. They can win it out. Heroes, like how you said, depending on who shows up. So I think those 3 factors will determine a lot. I mean, this past week when Alphas and Heroes played against VGs, a little bit higher caliber team, they got to hand it to them a little bit.
This is going to turn
A
out to be
little.
a good playoffs here too. I think Heroes have a chance to have they're going to be the one that move up the most. I think, obviously, Midwest Grizzlies. Unfortunately, I think they're going to be at the bottom when this is all said and done. But that's all right. Rumple Pigs. Let's see what they kind of do. I think
Do they still have the same quarterback?
Rumple Pigs.
Yeah,
I believe so.
they ain't
Did
doing
they have a
nothing.
new one this last week?
I don't know if they. I don't know.
I
think
didn't
they
watch
mix
that
it up.
game, so I have
If,
no idea.
if it's the same quarterback, they're not going to do anything. That dude, fucking Santa, just giving gifts out.
Bullies are my pick out of this division, and I have Heroes as a sleeper. Alphas are tough, but yeah, like I said, I think Bullies will take this in the end.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to come down to discipline. It's going to come down to guys showing up overall week in and week out. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see who ends up playing who. But right now, Bullies pull off the win in their next conference game. They pretty much lock in the 1 seed as long as Alpha doesn't go undefeated. That's straight up how it is right now with the point differential. It's like the
So
easiest way
far,
to
it's pretty close in the divisions.
right. And then you're talking about D3. You also had Venom come out this past week and do another BTA, and they definitely are the BTA of the week. I mean, everyone at Sunset. I don't know if you guys are noticing a trend here, but only 2 games out of the 7 at Sunset had scores on them. One was Rumplepigs with 3 points, and then the Grizzlies with 12. Everyone else had donuts this past weekend. So this past weekend was a lot of BTAs all around the board, but Venom came out and they did what they had planned to do. They planned to take the conference. As you see right now in the division, Jokers are sitting there up top, but they gave it to the Warriors. Warriors had a rough run, and then they had caught looking right after that too. That gave them a little bit of a spanking too. Jeremy, you were there. What's kind of your take of it? I know Venom was pumping at all cylinders this past weekend.
Yeah, Venom's they look good. They kind of changed up their offense. They had a few pieces from SOB, some of those guys, and they like I said. I think the difference was their offense. They changed it up a little bit. I liked what they did, and then their defense kind of Warriors had a rough week. They couldn't really do anything in both the games. So putting that to the side. Venom, yeah, they've been having 2 good weeks, and looks like they changed their offense, and they're rolling right now. Let's see what they do. Keep moving forward.
I mean, you talk about in the 2 weeks alone, right? They put up 50 something points, and for their whole season, they put up 62.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It looks like they changed something up in their offense. Again, it does help on what kind of teams you go against as well.
Look, they did 28-0 against Spartans, 28-0 against Warriors.
2 back-to-back 28-0.
Shit, that's
And then-
why. Look who
and
they're
then
playing.
They put up only 6 against, but then they put up 0 against Jokers. And the next time they see Jokers is going to be May 4th. And that's a game I'm definitely going to be interested in seeing, because if you look at the upcoming games for them. Uh, as as for their team, you got them coming this next weekend. They got Immortals, which is going to be how you can say however you want. They got Warriors
28-0.
again,
Okay.
but then you got the Jokers, Wild Boys caught looking in that back end. I think that's going to be where you're going to want to watch Venom the most to see if they're able to maintain that and finish strong with their season.
Who do they have this week coming up?
Immortals.
Oh.
Excuse me.
28-0.
Well, Immortals came over that win over A-Town, so they might, give them a different look.
That's the blind beating the blind.
See, here's the problem you're going to run into. Look at the point fours on these offenses. It's literally like polar opposites when it comes to points allowed. Your defense, right now, Warriors and Immortals both have let up the most amount of points with their defense. Joker's only allowing up 12 so far this season is amazing. They put up 68 points. Caught looking allowing up 22. Wild Boys only allowing up 18 but put up 51. So we have some high scoring offenses, but then you have that bottom of the pack that needs to kick in that offense, or they're not going to. They either have to keep it close, but they can't keep letting these teams rack up these points. So that net points is going to be through the roof.
4 games, only 1 and 2 scores. Jesus.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's what I'm saying. Warriors have had a rough go, man. I thought, I thought Immortals would probably be in the last. I thought Warriors would be up there. They have a lot of pieces missing. It's been rough, man. It's been rough.
That's ugly.
It's ugly. I mean, what do you want to say? Yeah, it's a rough one. And who they got this week?
This week, hold on, let me pull it up the games this week so we can just go through all of the.
Now you're thinking.
Hey man. I want to look at this. So here we are. Here are the games this week. So right now you got that 8 a.m. game. You got A-Town versus Wild Boys at sunset. I don't know. I think Wild Boys, if they keep doing what they're doing, they'll take it. A-Town does have a doubleheader. They got to play the Warriors this week. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?
I got Wild Boys in that first game. If we're going down the list, I got Wild Boys first game against A-Town.
Jesus, VGs for Midwest Grizzlies?
Yeah, I got VGs.
And I got Grizzlies on that one.
A-Town versus Warriors. I'm going A-Town. A-Town rights the ship here.
Against Warriors? I got Warriors.
So you got A-Town going 2-0 on the day?
No, 1-1.
No, I got Wild Boys winning.
You got Wild Boys?
And then
so
I
you got them going
1-1. Yeah, I got them going 1-1.
See, I think A-Town's going to trigger a lot based on how that first game goes. And I think Warriors can capitalize on that. However, if Warriors stick with the funk that they're in and their mindset, they're going to struggle a lot into this game this week.
Yeah. VG's backyard Bullies, man. Bullies got a double header this week for sure.
I mean, if they can get guys to show up, they have the talent. I mean, it's just getting guys to show up per usual.
And then our boy Ricky is going to be out there for that game, so we're definitely going to get some clips from there. I'm excited to see this game. I think this is a game that a lot of people were excited to see a crossover for. I think a lot of the Bullies games, because a lot of those Bullies guys do know a lot of the D1 athletes or they played with them. So I think that's what makes it a little bit more interesting when it comes to this type of game. I think if VGs, nothing against my Grizzly boys, but if they don't take Grizzly serious and they go into that backyard Bullies game with some slacking, it could affect them in that game, in my opinion. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Am I wrong, though? Sometimes if you take it too easy or you think an opponent's too easy, it can screw you up down the line.
Well, yeah, if you overlook someone, I'm pretty sure that VGs are not looking over Grizzlies for Bullies. I feel like VGs feel like they could take both teams. I do think the backyard Bullies are a better matchup versus them, and I think it'll give them a better look. But I think they'll be ready to play against Bullies. I don't think they're going to have a letdown against the Grizzlies. Sorry, Giuseppe. I mean, I don't mean to. You might throw a touchdown because it happens with like we saw last week, miss flag, and then all of a sudden you throw a 50-yard bomb. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna overlook you guys. I think they're gonna be ready for you. They're gonna be ready for backyard bullies. But I do believe that's gonna be a good matchup. Like Chach said, if everyone shows up, it's gonna be better than it should. But I do have VG still beating them because I think VG's is rolling right now. I think they have the one thing I've seen from VG's this year that they haven't done the last couple of years is they have actual calls now. It isn't just a look. They actually are. Vince is actually making calls out there, so they're moving. That offense is actually moving, and then they're looking forward because they're down there. When they go down to nationals, they got pro this year, and they're trying to do a three-peat, which is very rare, if ever, have been done. So they're trying to change up a little bit of their offense. They're trying to be a little bit quicker. So yeah, VG's I think is going to win that game.
VG's and three-peat is crazy.
I know to say it, like I said, to say it. I mean,
hey, if the Chicago team could win pro, fuck it. But
I get it. You're in pro too. I mean that. I understand. You know,
I think July is going to be a true kind of pre-image of what to expect at nationals in that pro division.
I think again, I know it's a little bit different at pro than it is comp and rec. 100%, right? It's not an easy. You just go up to pro and all of a sudden, just because you won comp, you're competitive team up there. But at the same time, if you ask New Wave, I don't think they thought VG's was going to be one and done in comp this year either.
100%.
Right.
I mean, I talked to a handful of the pro teams. Like I know a bunch of those guys, and the fresh blood is always who everybody wants to play.
100%.
I mean, like Pete and Tone from Up in Smoke, like all their podcasts, if I remember on they'll ask to make sure that VGs are going to be there because that's who they want to play. Like they want to welcome them to pro type shit. And it's just,
I get it.
I mean, Vince is easily probably the smartest dude in flag football.
Oh, his game planning is unbelievable.
Like it's insane. And pro is a lot more like the physicality is just how it is. Like it's not even like something crazy. Like, that's just the foundation of this pro. It's the speed, the flag pulling, and the scheme. That's what pro is. Like it's rec and comp or whatever. They have their own things, but pro is just you can't just go up there. Oh, I got the better athlete. No, like it's not going to work just because you have a better athlete.
Yeah, I agree.
Very much so. Talk about that next game. You got Backyard Bullies versus 4TF. I think this is going to be one of the games to watch this week. I think this
that's going to be a funny game.
It's either going to have a lot of shit talking or it's going to have a lot of physicality. That's going to be one of the two.
Why not both?
Straight up. Because both leads to fights. So I'm hoping it's one or the other.
4TF going to have all their guys there?
I don't know.
See, that's a question mark now, right?
Is Bullies going to have all their guys there?
Look, I'm just saying, right? Same
Another
thing.
question mark.
So that's going to be a game of who shows up.
Basically.
Who doesn't have the most conflicts?
I mean, what was the score the last time they played? It was a close game, correct?
When the hell was that?
Bro, what?
I think you're thinking of like BA.
No, they played Bullies and 4TF have played. You're sure? You're positive now.
Jeremy.
Wasn't that one of the first weeks where they almost scored and it was a close game and it was
yes, he's right.
Yes,
he
they
is
did.
right.
I know my shit, man. It's okay.
Because Danny went off sides on like the 1 yard line and there was like 30 seconds left.
Okay. So
I
think that was week 1.
I think it was week 1.
Oh shit! It was week 1. They 4TF only
okay.
won.
We all make mistakes.
I forgot that
it was a close game. Correct.
Me personally, I think Bully should have won that because there was an inadvertent whistle. But it was a very down to the wire game.
It was a very close game. So that's what I'm saying. Very close game. Whoever has everyone show up, it's going to be a close game. Now, I know that there's a defensive player that just switched sides, was on 4TF, now is on the Bullies, right? Could that be a difference?
Spill that tea, sir. Who are you talking about?
Mr.
Oh,
LJ.
you're talking LJ. LJ bought
LJ.
his way free. He bought his way free from
He
4TF.
went from
You paid
4TF
that man.
He
over the
said
Bullies.
he said I wanted to go to Bullies, and he did. And he popped over and he made his presence
Oh,
He made his
after the
presence.
TFL debacle.
after the TFL debacle. Yeah, which I'm still unpacking a lot of that, but I don't want to get into that. That's their own business.
So
Oh.
does that make the difference?
Does
Does,
that
I
make
mean, 4
does
TF didn't
LJ
really
make
play
the
LJ.
difference in this game?
I would agree with Chach. They didn't play LJ like they needed to when they
I mean,
had
because
him.
LJ is a phenomenal flag puller. The motherfucker doesn't know how to stop. I mean,
And he gives you 150%
yes.
when he's out there. Like he's not one of those where he'll take a play off. Like he'll give it to you what he needs from you to accomplish it. I mean, that's why
I
he
mean,
succeeded so well with Glory Boys in Rec last year. He's a great role player. I would agree, Kyle. Yeah.
I don't think he's a role player. I mean, I think he could start on a handful of more than a handful of teams. I mean, the big four, the big three, whatever you want to call it, maybe not. But I think it's going to depend on if Padrone's there or not, because the big difference between Padrone and Dante is the mobility. I mean, LJ can
100%.
move, but if Dante catches steam, there's not many people who can catch him.
Now, do you think he's going to have a little bit of an advantage right now because of the way 4TF's adjusted their schemes, where he's going to see them, or do you think it won't matter?
I don't think it's going to matter as much. I mean, rushing is rushing. There's not much to do with the scheme other than I got to beat the guy blocking.
Okay,
Like,
I mean that's fair.
I mean, unless there's like hella rollouts, like lineman leaks, like other than that.
Like right now, I think it's you have 4TF is becoming very their offense right now.
wishy-washy.
Their offense right now with the injuries they have, unfortunately, has become not many targets anymore.
I mean, but who's really injured?
Well, you got Sean, you got Millie, you got Stu. That's three big.
But wasn't
Big
that
word.
all three players that they knew
That's-
about though prior to going to the season?
I don't know. I
I
just
thought they
know
knew
that.
How
I
did,
know
when did
that
Stu get hurt? Stu played against us.
Stu played like I think 2 plays, maybe a little bit. He didn't play the whole game.
Oh, well, Sean's probably not coming back until Natty prep.
They had
I mean,
they had a lot of injuries. on their
They'll
offense.
just
Right now-
validate Sean
Like I
out,
said, right
Stu
now,
out, Millie out.
unfortunately, when you look across that line, and like I said, I mean, look, hopefully this is bulletin board stuff. Who knows? But when you look across that line as a defensive player, you have to mark on who you have to kind of cover, right? When you take away 3 targets, big targets, like I just said, you have to now find your targets. You have Dante, he's a number 1 target. You have O'Shea. You have other players, but they're still trying to learn that system. They're still trying to learn the quarterback. They're still trying to gel over there. How much time on a veteran team should you take to gel before fingers are starting to be pointed? How new
it doesn't help when you're playing games without your quarterback.
you're playing games without your quarterback and without your starters, and I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. It looks confusing, and I feel like they're confused very too over there. They're trying to pat each other on the back and say it's okay, but you got losses against Phantom, you got losses against New Wave in a game that was a very sloppy game because of the weather. Who knows how that goes? You know, if it's clear, right? Those are still rival games. You have a game against VGs. If you get blanked against them and you can't move the ball against them, you lose this game against Bullies. Yeah, it's early, but at the same time, it's not getting better. Those teams aren't getting any worse. So
I mean, are you trying to say that their offense is not moving? I mean, all fairness, if we're looking
they're
at
averaging the same amount of points right now that they do. I understand they've been together for a little bit. I understand there's a growing part of this game, but those are all veterans that's played this game before. There shouldn't be that much gelling. They went from over at Phantoms from one quarterback to another, and what, they took less than a season to really get together because that's a veteran person who went over there into a veteran role. I mean, right now you have one of the best quarterbacks that ever played in this flag game, and you're telling me that it's you guys got to get together. He's running the same plays he's been running for the last 3 years. If you go back and you watch 5 years, if you go back and you watch tape on this man, the same pump fake go, the same crackback release, these are the same plays that keep constantly are the same exact plays that he played on Phantoms. So tell me what more needs to be gelled. What more needs to come together? It's run what is happening. But if everyone knows what you're doing, you're not surprising nobody.
Well,
And this is my opinion on what I see here. I see a stagnant offense. I see an offense that is looking for somebody to step up when you have injuries, and the same old person stepping up and trying to be a hero, and it might not work out in the end.
Captain Sabaho.
so I kind of want to bring this up a little bit, right? We're talking about gelling the offense. If we look at the hard numbers, right? The hard number is right now out of their 6 games that they played, they've scored 85 points and they've let up 50. That being said, out of the top teams, they have let up some of the most points, besides the lower ranked bottom 10 half teams. I mean, Billies themselves only let up 49, but they've only put up 45.
Who are they scoring the points against? I mean,
so that's what I'm going to go back to. So when you go back to D1, you're talking about they put up 85 points. When it comes to D1 games, they only put up 39. So they're about 50,
so they're doing what they're supposed to, but folding against the real teams.
They're letting up, but if you look at their points allowed,
you're only going for against one division. Though.
Correct when it comes to the playoffs, but you're talking about overall. If you look at they've only let up outside of their division. They've only let up 7 points. Inside of the division, they have let up 43 points.
So they're doing what they're supposed to against the little teams, but crumbling against the teams they're going to be playing in playoffs.
I think their offense is there. I think it's their defense that needs to step up, in my opinion. Looking at the numbers.
I mean, they were also missing Dante on defense because he had to play quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's just my 2 cents of it, because I'm looking at the baseline numbers, right? If your defense can't hold the top teams and your offense can't triple that number, that's going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's for anybody.
And they only got 1 game left in their division. It's not like they have 2. You know what I mean?
Who else do they have to play?
Against a very good team that has a very good offense and a very good defense.
Right. So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Well, it was more than 2 cents, but okay.
I give you 4 cents. All right. Let me get back that image so we can finish the games.
I think maybe some of the issues is right now, maybe some teams just don't have the right personnel where it needs to be, or some personnel needs to start stepping up.
Right.
It can't be one person every time.
Definitely. I definitely agree to that. But now we talk about that Rumple Pigs New Wave game. I think New Wave wants to keep their hot streak alive. I think right now they're sitting at a spot where they like to be. They had a little fun last week. They had some little competitiveness last week. I think this is a game where they can't let off that gas, and then they need to put the icing on the cake to Reapers in that doubleheader. That's the honest truth.
I got Rumple Pigs -2.
Yeah, if New Wave shows up, I think they handle Rumple Pigs pretty easily. I think every team that's played Rumple Pigs from the upper division, except for I think Alphas, they Rumple Pigs give a very competitive game. I just don't think they have enough weapons and enough speed to keep up with the upper teams.
Yeah,
and that's not saying anything bad. I think they're fine in comp. I think they're struggling against the.
This is what their 2nd or 3rd season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a knock. Like I said, they're the young team.
No, I mean, I know they went to nationals. I know I was talking to a bunch of guys and they were watching games.
Can I say?
But
I was gonna say, can I say something about some of these comp teams though that we're seeing? The Rumple Pigs, um, the Alphas. These teams are like, there's definitely a gap. I think we're starting to see right that we can say
that's every
between
season.
the up and the lower. But then when you get down there, I think there's not that much of a gap from there. I think Jokers could play easily up in comp right now and give some of these teams a real competitive game, and even maybe even be in the top couple teams at top four. I think a team like Midwest Ducks over there and the other thing, the same exact way. They could come over here and compete still, same thing. Them and Rumble Pigs are kind of at the same level.
I don't think their
Um,
record would be as good if they were over here, in my opinion.
I think they would be at the same level as the Rumple Pigs and the Jokers and stuff like that. I think these kind of teams that have been kind of avoiding each other, I think they all are kind of in the same, but they're not necessarily near the top yet. I think they just I don't
I
know if they're
mean,
going to be there. The
the
Phantoms,
gap to the top has been widening for the last since Northfield started, or
and yes,
like
that's what I am kind of trying to say. It's widening. It's more closer from comp to rec than it is from comp to elite.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
That's how
definitely think the games are starting to shift a little bit more when it comes to that side too.
I mean, you look at the other leagues, and I said you see their upper division and their lower division, right? It's kind of like it's the same. I mean, I think right now,
I think we should do a battle of the leagues.
I don't think you couldn't even the upper division couldn't compete with the upper teams over
I
there.
think, well, I'm just saying, I think that would, be. I think there's a lot of good teams all around the
Dirty
country.
Birds, that's another team.
I
They're
mean,
that's comparable. I mean, you put them. Who else? Who else can you put up there? Dinos, that's another team, right? Really good team. Can compete anywhere, but you put them up with the elite right now.
but we'll talk about that 4TF Alphas game. I think that should be a close one. I think, I think Alphas can make a statement against 4TF this game.
I think
If
they
they
should.
don't, I think that can be something that's going to haunt them throughout the rest of the season, in my opinion.
I mean, the odds are heavily in Fortia's favor.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think 4TF handles alphas compared to. I think bullies are a lot. Like I said, I think bullies are comparable. They are probably the closest that could probably play in elite than some of these other teams.
Right. And then you got that New Wave Reapers game. Like I said before, New Wave needs to solidify their spot. So they're gonna do what they got to do against Reapers. Reapers got to show up.
I mean,
Plain and
Reapers
simple.
has beaten Wave before.
Yes, they have.
They
And
have.
they have been in Wave before too to make them no longer undefeated as well. So
Is this a game that New Wave could be possibly no, not necessarily overlooking? Do you think they feel like?
my thing is like, why would you overlook your?
I don't think they will. I'm asking you guys. You think they are? I don't.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they
so.
will. I think that would be foolish if they were to, especially like I get it if they overlook like a D2 game and they allow and they blow away their undefeated record. But if you're looking to lock in that one seed, and especially with money on the line of $2,000, those 4 games mean more than anything. If you don't got them circled on your schedule, you're crazy.
I think. I think New Wave is definitely on a show to show out this year to kind of show what they didn't do in nationals. So they want to kind of prove it to everybody. So I don't think they're going to slip up. Maybe last week, I think the only slip up they they almost had was against the Grizzlies. So
That
you
was a
never
good
know.
game.
And I think that was because they didn't have enough guys or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I think they're going to easily handle that game. I think Reapers are still struggling against it in the upper division. So I think they get another L. New Wave takes the win in this one.
And then we got the Venom and Mortals game. I got if Venom puts up another 28 points this week, Steve has gotten some. We talked about it, Steve has gotten some guidance with his offense. Immortals have to put up points. If they let Venom do what they did to Warriors this past weekend, we might
If
see
Venom
more than
puts up
28
28 points, I want Steve on the podcast next week.
Steve almost came on tonight.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If he scores 28 next week and it's a blowout, he's on this podcast. We're not going to talk
Hey,
about
if Steve has another blowout this weekend, that's 3 weeks in a row. Steve gave someone a BTA, and no one has said anything about it besides jokers to them.
Well, is he the one actually throwing the ball, or is it their other quarterback that's scoring the points?
He's the one throwing the ball.
Okay, then yes, he could be on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
figured
does
it
a
out.
little
Have
bit.
the
He
other
does a
one.
little bit of everything over there. They're both in the backfield. It's a new offense.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Like I said, he should score 28. But my thing is, Immortals, we got that doubleheader. They got caught looking right after that. I definitely think that if they get BTA against Venom, that caught looking game is going to be very similar to what we just saw against the Warriors, having to deal with the same setup. That carries from game to game. I will say that losses carry, and it's hard to recoup. After
Yeah, if you go 28-0, it's very hard to get the team back on track for the
All
next
right,
one.
so y'all see it first. He said, "I'll be on if we do." What I mean, even if it's a blowout, you're going to be on because we want to hear about this offensive strategy that you guys got going on now, and how you guys plan to take on the Jokers and caught looking on them, because that's going to be the games where I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in, especially in D3. D3 alone, I think, is going to be exciting the rest of the way. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to happen. We're in April already, believe it or not. We're halfway through the season. June's right around the corner. Playoffs are right around the corner. Especially with these buys coming up for Easter, Mother's Day, and Memorial Day, the games are going to happen quick. And so playoffs are, believe it or not, guys, right around the corner. At this point, everything's closing up. The final roster adjustments, any last additions for free agents are being locked up. Like, this is where we're now in that home stretch where guys need to prepare for playoffs, prepare for tournaments, especially our July tournament, 19th and 20th. Shout out to Jokers for registering. Shout out to Venom for registering. So, hey, Ducks, hey, SOB, hey, all those other teams that have been calling out these guys, you know where they're going to be in July.
Ricky will be there.
Ricky's going to be there. He's already signed on for the weekend. If you want to get some Ricky, if you want to get some Adrian, Quan, we have small ball. There's a lot of big things we got going on, and stay tuned for some 5-man and 6-mans that we got planned out too.
Man, that would be cool to see some Chicago teams in that 5-man, not just an OTF, but I'm talking about some others.
Yeah,
They don't want that whooping.
I'm hoping to put on some almost practices for 6-man and 5-man at the Dome, where we guys can come in free play, get a feel, and maybe we can recruit our own teams for those formats. It's not too much money, so it's only like $20 or something. We're pretty much up. Free agency has already been gone, so we did a little bit different this year with our deadlines. You had the solid deadline where if you try going from team to team. If you had no team at all, you were allowed to be picked up until this week right now, and then it's all closed. If you were trying to leave a team, it's closed after this point. And then, of course, you have your IRs that all the teams had as well that they can fill in throughout this point. So we gave a lot more flexibility to it. We had a lot more strategy, and a lot of teams liked it because just in case people did get hurt, they had to fill in. But besides that, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it for today's show. We went through it all. We shout out to the MVPs again for the draft. We got another one coming up that we're going to be announcing. Justin, appreciate you coming on as 4 out of 5. I think that's a great way to put it, my guy. We definitely want to talk to a lot more of you guys on the show. We're gonna be doing a lot more. We're hoping to do a lot more. Ricky's gonna do a lot more. Shout out to everyone who's balling out this past couple weeks. If it's here at Northfield or out of state, out of the country. Shout out to Deshaun. Shout out to Empire for winning in North Carolina. A lot of great stuff happened, and we're excited to see what's coming on this next week. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Justin, appreciate you, and have a great night, everyone.